Good day, sunshines. It's a beautiful day, so I decided to bring the camera out and catch some fresh air and maybe a little bit of sun. Um, it's an interesting day. Um, Day two of Life Without Carol. Um, we had to have some interesting conversations last night with the kids. For those of you who don't know, I have three children, 17, 13, and 9. And I am currently quarantined with my 17 and my 9-year-old. Those who are asking, Hunter is perfectly fine. He basically made a complete 180 and he is perfectly fine. No need to worry about him. We're still waiting for his COVID test to find out if that's exactly what was ailing him. But the difficult conversations that I had to have with the kids was about the possibility and the likelihood of me being laid off from work. I am in the events business. I've done stage productions, I do experiential marketing, I am a brand ambassador, tour manager, production manager, MC, host, you name it, it does it in the events world, and I've been doing it for a very, very long time. Unfortunately, my industry took the initial hit of this, and we will probably be the ones to have the longest hit outside of the hospitality industry, because our business is based on people and people engaging and people going out and people going to the events. So no one's doing that. And until they do, there will be no money flowing for anybody in the industry. So I had to talk to them about that. My son said, well, can't they give you any work? My little one, 9-year-old, he said, can't they give you any work to do from home? And I explained to him, I go, unfortunately, that's not how my particular part of the business is done. There are some people who can work from home temporarily. They can plan and they can organize and they can receive the calls and requests for possible events. I go, but I'm in the field, you know. I'm the guy who goes out and makes sure it happens, and that's, unfortunately, that's not going anywhere. And so we had to have the real conversations about paying rent and limiting what we have in regards to, you know, cell phones or even subscriptions, you know. Not there yet, but having this conversation this early on will allow for the ease to, okay, kids, we need to decide if we're going to cut the cable off or we're going to cut the cell phones off, or one of the cell phones off, or heck, I'm, you know, only a few months into being able to pay the rent here. So who knows what's going to happen then, whether or not we'll be able to live here next year or at the end of the year. I don't know. We'll see what happens. So those are the conversations we had, and bless my son's heart, he goes, well, is there something that we can do from home? And I said, what you got, kid? He goes, why don't we start a YouTube channel? I said, brilliant, let's do it. I have everything we could possibly need to do a YouTube channel. What do you want to do? Gaming. Done. We're going to do a gaming channel. Done. Anything else? He said, yes. And we could build Legos. To which I said, well, we don't have any Legos here. He goes, but you could buy them and send them. And I go, you might not understand the concept of not spending money when you don't have it, but I'm with you. Continue. Um, so he said we could do gaming, we could do puzzles. He said we could do a lot on YouTube, Dad. So done. So eventually my son and I will have a YouTube channel, and I'll keep you guys posted on that. So there was that. I also had to have conversations about them helping me when the time comes with Carol's belongings, and what can we do, what should we do, with clothes and items. And then my son says, well, what about her room? Can we change that into our studio? I said, kid, she's only a day away and you ready to restructure the whole house and erase Carol? He said, no, Carol would absolutely want this. Like, Carol would want us to, like, take her room and make it into our studio. Like, yeah, Carol would not be mad. I believe Carol would want that. And he's absolutely right. I don't know about if we're going to turn it into a studio at this particular time, but that is the beauty of Carol. People who knew her knew exactly what she would love, what she would absolutely welcome, because that's the type of woman she is. She was supportive, she was loving, she was caring, and anything the kids wanted would get done. So we will eventually look to do that. What else? I am waiting on a social worker to either contact us, or I've tried to call the hospital to find out what are the next steps with Carol and what we are to do. I mean, we are self-quarantining for the 14 days. But what happens after the 14 days? I had conversations with both of my children's mothers. The oldest is from a previous relationship, and my two youngest ones are from my previous marriage. And talk about timelines, and that my daughter, who her mother misses very much, may not be going home after this 14 days. And the reason for that is because we got to get tested, and when we get tested, then we have to wait for the test, and then they have to wait for the test. She may have it, she may not have it, but then her mother has to get tested to find out if she has it. She has no symptoms, she's perfectly all right. But if my daughter has it and she doesn't, she can't go to her because she still may be able to infect her, or vice versa. If by some means that we have not contracted COVID-19 being in the same house as Carol, and her mother has it, she can't go to her mom. These are weird times, weird thoughts. I also had the conversation with the moms, and we'll get a little personal, but not too personal, that once I get laid off, I've got no child support money. And there's nothing that I can do about that. Yes, when unemployment kicks in, we'll deal with that then, but that leads a bigger trail of problems, especially for, people who are on child support systems. You can't go to court, you can't change your petition to decrease it. So you're stuck where you're at, you're stuck at the cost you're at. Hopefully that they will kind of erase the automatic system with that. If you've ever been on child support or you're in the system, and you're automatically deducted from your paycheck, you don't see that money, you don't touch that money, you don't get a hold of that money. It just goes boom straight to the child support services, and then child support services sends it to the custodial parent. Well, when that money doesn't come, then things get triggered in the system, and it starts with the letters and the rears. And then from the rears, then you get the penalties, and then you get judgments, and then from judgments, then you get suspensions, and then you get your passports revoked, and then you get your license revoked, and then you get your income tax revoked. So all of those things could potentially happen should child support not be paid. Of course, once unemployment comes, I'll send whatever I can in order to keep that regulated and be able to survive and pay my own rent. So hopefully, something in those systems will suspend in this time. And not for me personally, like, the mothers of my children and I, we have a very open communication, and no hardships there between us, especially at this time. But we're not in the system. We're not in the court. They can't call and say, hey, listen, can you suspend, child support payments, or vice versa. I can't call and say, hey, listen, I don't got a job. Can you decrease it? Can't do any of that right now. So we shall see. Hopefully they'll suspend those, maybe not the rears, but the penalties that go with it. Because, not even for me, but for guys that are, or women, people that are they just won't have the means. They just won't have it, or they don't have the opportunity for unemployment or any type of assistance. So that's going to be an interesting thing several months down the line. But all in all, I am remaining positive. The kids are doing great. We are doing great. We're figuring out things to do inside the house. We're having great quality time. Thankfully, we have enough space to where we don't have to see each other for a couple of hours. We can be in our own little worlds. My son will go video game or chat with his friends. My daughter will do the same thing, go do her homework in another room. And I, will sit down, I'll make dinner, I'll contemplate other things, and, deal with the businesses at hand. But we are doing okay, if anybody wants to know. We're going to be fine. Our places may change, our dynamics may change, but our love doesn't change, and our survival and desire for survival will not change. And I'll leave you with that. Stay safe. Wash your hands. Stay home. And I love you. That's my heart beating for you. Good day, sunshines.